Good evening, everyone. I am calling this meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. on April 20th, 2026. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Thank you. Commissioner Solis,
Present.
Commissioner Ben-Ani,
Present.
Commissioner Peterson,
Present.
Commissioner Kennedy, absent, Commissioner Lacioha,
Present.
Vice Chair Williams,
Present.
and Chair Taylor, absent. We have a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to lead us in the pledge, if we can all stand. All right, next item we have on our agenda is recommended that the Antioch Police Oversight Commission continue meeting minutes for March 16th and April 6th. May I please have a vote?
Thank you, Vice Chair.
Excuse me, I have a first, or a motion and followed by a second.
Sorry, Chair Williams. Vice Chair, sorry, Vice Chair. I just have a quick question. We do not have a copy of those minutes attached behind our agenda on today, and I think we should. So I don't know, maybe that was not able to be circulated along with this today for our meeting this evening.
Okay.
I was just like an
I'll
explanation
refer-
if I could get one.
Sure, I'll refer to the clerk.
The meetings the minutes are being continued, so they're being prepared still. Thank you.
Okay, so with that being said, can we, how would I want to say it? Can we just go ahead and postpone this until our next meeting? Until we can read, the meeting minutes for March 16th and April 6th?
I think proper procedure would be to continue the minutes because they are still being developed.
Yes, that's exactly what this, the recommended action is to continue the minutes because our minutes clerk who's working on those hasn't been able to prepare them yet. And thus, the minutes cannot be approved because they have not been recorded yet.
Right, and
They
so
haven't
this,
been committed to paper.
and so, Commissioner, all this vote is saying is we want to continue the minutes so that when they are all captured together, we'll have them separate.
All right, and my apologies, I did not see that word continue.
That's okay.
Meeting minutes for March 16th and April 6th. Thank you for clarification.
Thank you.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Since this is my first meeting, I was not at those meetings,
Sure.
of course. Would it be appropriate for me just to abstain on this vote when it comes up?
I'll leave that to our city attorney.
Yes, I believe so, because you wouldn't be able to approve the minutes anyway since you were not on the commission during those times.
Okay, thank you.
That's right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, and with that understanding, do I have a motion followed by a second?
I'd like to motion to continue the minutes for March 16th and April 6th, 2026.
Second.
Madam Clerk, may we have a vote?
Thank you. Commissioner Solis will abstain. Commissioner Ben-Ani,
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson,
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy is absent. Commissioner Lacioha,
Aye.
Vice Chair Williams,
Aye.
Chair Taylor is absent. The motion passes 4-0 to continue the meeting minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, on to new business. We have Police Chief Joe V. Hill's report.
Good evening, Commissioners. Good evening, Mr. Kundinger. Currently, the police department sits at 85 sworn police officers with 2 on long-term injury leave. and we have two in two different academies. One trainee at Alameda County Sheriff's Office Academy and one at Contra Costa County Sheriff's Academy. And I have 5 set to start the Contra Costa County Sheriff's Academy Monday. So in less than a week, 5 more will be starting the academy. Any questions?
Commissioner Peterson.
I don't have any questions, just good job. Glad that we have 5 more people starting. Sounds good.
No, thank you. And we are processing applicants to fill the next 2 Alco and Contra Costa academies, which start May and June respectively.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Solis.
Thank you, sir. Chief, of the different ways that we've been trying to find people for our department, what do you think has been the most successful?
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth, okay.
We're very fortunate where we have a lot of young people who are working for the department right now, and they are our best recruiting tool and have been probably for the last 1.5 years.
Okay. That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any more questions for the chief? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to your APD presentation on assistive call taking and translation service.
Correct. So I apologize. We just got the PowerPoint today, but we can make it available to you after the meeting tonight if you all would like to see it. I'm going to turn it over to Lieutenant Maloney and some of the representatives from Barricade.
Thank you, Chief.
Perfect.
Just want to make sure we're all ready. I see Commissioner Kennedy's.
Yes, thank you. City Clerk, we do have Commissioner Kennedy arriving, if you want to note.
Commissioner Kennedy arrived at 6:37. Thank you.
Great. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Mike Maloney. I'm a lieutenant with the Police Department, and I'll be introducing this presentation this evening. Thanks for having me. I'm here to discuss the department's proposal to implement an assistive call-taking platform in our dispatch center. Just for some context and background, this item was scheduled to go to City Council on a consent calendar a few weeks ago, and the Council had specifically asked the department to present it here first before returning for a formal decision. That's why I'm here tonight. I'm going to cover 4 things: the operational situation in our dispatch center that we're dealing with today, and what the platform does and what it doesn't do, and what outcomes we're looking for, and the oversight structures that apply both before, during, and after implementation. And at the end here, I'm going to turn this over to Kent Nguyen from Prepared. He's got a presentation and a demonstration of the platform for all of you, and be happy to answer any questions at the conclusion of that. So the current state of our dispatch center is last year and the year before, they handled roughly 72,000 911 emergency calls. It didn't change much from 2024 to 2025. And in addition to that, over 200,000 non-emergency calls. Our dispatch center has 16 funded dispatch positions. 4 of those have been vacant over the last few years, and the vacancy rate has been consistent for several years despite ongoing recruitment efforts. On a typical shift, we have 2, 3, or sometimes 4 at maximum dispatchers working in our center. So you can imagine the amount of call volume they're getting with those numbers that they're dividing amongst 2, 3, or 4 call takers. On a typical shift, they're managing incoming calls, radio traffic, computer-aided dispatch documentation, and field coordination simultaneously. And there are some specific operational problems that result from this. First, the residents calling our non-emergency line during periods of elevated call volume routinely experience phone tree delays and hold times. Some callers disconnect before reaching a dispatcher, and calls are never generated. There's no record and there's no response from the police department. Second, calls from our residents who speak a language other than English require the dispatcher to bring a third-party translator, and that connection process takes time, sometimes several minutes. during which the dispatcher cannot reliably confirm the reporting party's location, whether weapons are involved, if somebody's injured. As this commission knows, the city has a memorandum of agreement with the Department of Justice, and we have a language access plan that's developed to implement that agreement. And the department has specific obligations to provide meaningful access to emergency services for limited English proficient callers. Dispatch is the first point of contact for those obligations, and the current translation workflows don't meet that standard. And then during major incidents, multiple 911 calls will come in quick succession, reporting the same event. With 2 or 3 dispatchers on duty, not every call can be answered, and information gathered on one line may not reach the dispatcher running the radio in time. So the platform under evaluation today is called Prepared. It's a subsidiary of Axon, which the department uses for body-worn cameras, dash cameras, and digital evidence management. This platform has 4 functions for our department. It has a non-emergency call handling. When residents call our non-emergency line, they interact with a voice-based assistant in English or their preferred language. The assistant gathers the nature of the call. It confirms the contact information and routes the caller to the appropriate service and sends them to a resource or transfers them to a dispatcher. The caller can request a dispatcher at any point and is transferred directly. And any call in which the system detects an emergency signal is escalated to a dispatcher automatically. The system also provides live translation during calls. When a non-English caller reaches a dispatcher, the dispatcher sees the caller's words translated into English in real time. And dispatchers can type responses that are translated back into spoken speech in the caller's language. The platform currently supports voice translation in Spanish, Vietnamese, and the major Chinese languages of Mandarin and Cantonese, along with Punjabi and Hindi, with text translation available in additional languages. There's call support during emergencies. During an active emergency call, the platform generates a real-time transcript, flags keywords such as weapons or medical terms, and produces a structured summary of critical details. If several callers report the same incident, the platform can consolidate the information across calls so that the dispatcher running the radio has an integrated view of all the information that's being provided. It also provides automated quality assurance. Every call is reviewed against the protocols that our department defines. So supervisors can see that protocol adherence across all calls rather than a sample, identify patterns, and direct coaching based on what the data shows. The quality assurance findings are acted on by a supervisor, not by the system. And the platform also includes a consent-based video capability. During an active call, a dispatcher can send the caller a link, and if the caller opens the link and grants permission, the dispatcher can view live video from the caller's phone, and the caller can share that information with the call taker, the dispatcher, and officers. The video is limited to the duration of the call and ends when the call ends, and the caller can revoke permission at any time. The dispatcher cannot activate a caller's camera independently, and some of the use cases that we saw for this were at major traffic collision scenes, structure fires, or active threat situations in which the caller is in a position to share what they're seeing in real time with the call taker and officers. Now, here's what the platform does not do. The platform does not make dispatch decisions. Prioritization, unit assignment, and response decisions continue to be made by dispatchers. The platform does not replace any dispatcher position. It does not scan, monitor, or collect data on anyone who has not called. It does not connect to a surveillance infrastructure. Any caller who prefers to speak directly with a person at any time will be connected to a dispatcher. Now, we conducted an evaluation and a site visit at different locations related to this platform. The department visited the El Paso Police Department in Texas and the Galt Police Department here in California before recommending this platform. Additional agencies have published case studies that the department has reviewed, and here's what we found. In North Little Rock, Arkansas, we found in their case study that dispatchers were waiting up to 6 minutes to get a live translator on the phone to help with limited English proficient callers, which, as anybody can mention, when there's a life-threatening emergency, that's 6 minutes too long. Their per quality assurance review time dropped from 20 minutes to 5 minutes, which allowed supervisors to meet their quality assurance targets within their shift capacity. In Delaware County, Pennsylvania, they reported completing Spanish language emergency calls in under 4 minutes using live translation. And their chief of communication has characterized it as comparable to English language call handling. And in Baltimore City 911 that uses the platform reported an increase in quality assurance coverage from 30% of calls being reviewed to 100% of calls being reviewed, with a measurable improvement of quality assurance scores during the first month of operation. We did a site visit in Galt out near Lodi, and they reported a reduction of approximately 50% in non-emergency call volume handled by dispatchers, which is very significant. And the El Paso Police Department in Texas reported to us that fewer than 10% of callers request to speak to a human. They have seen significant engagement with the platform, and folks don't choose to bypass using the automated system. They're comfortable using the automated system. So what we're seeking here today is reduced hold times, reduced call abandonment on our non-emergency line, real-time translation for limited English callers, consistent with our language access plan obligations in our MOA with the DOJ, dispatcher support during surge incidents, full coverage quality assurance that gives supervisors the information they need for coaching and training. The proposed contract with Prepared is a 2-year agreement with options to renew in subsequent years, which allows the department and the city to assess performance before committing further. The contract terms address data storage, retention, access controls, vendor use limitations, subpoena handling, and contract termination. And their infrastructure is compliant with state and federal guidelines regarding information security. The department's compliance division has operational oversight responsibility of this platform. And I just wanted to say in conclusion that the department is prepared to return to this committee with performance data following implementation, including call data, quality assurance metrics, and any caller complaints or incidents or any issues of concern. If implementation goes forward, the department would welcome committee members observing the system in operation during an active dispatch shift. First-hand observation is more informative than a presentation, and the offer is on the record tonight. So in closing, I'll turn it over to Kent from the vendor from Prepared to do the presentation, and I'll answer any questions that come up.
Cool. Thank you, Lieutenant Maloney. Hey, everyone. My name is Kent Nguyen. I am the account representative here at Prepared. Alongside me today is Danny Cho. He is the VP of Sales. And then we have Bruce Romero. He's the sales engineer. So you got both, operational and technical expertise here with you guys today. So first, I want to acknowledge something up front. We understand that there are real concerns when it comes to AI, what it is, what it isn't, and how it impacts something as critical as emergency responses. Our goal today is simple. By the end of this conversation, we want everyone in this room to feel confident and honestly excited about what this technology means for the city of Antioch. So because this isn't about replacing people, this is about empowering your dispatch center, strengthening your police department, and ultimately protecting your community in a better way. Cool. So let's start with the reality of your dispatch center today. Right now, as Lieutenant Maloney mentioned, you guys are operating with 4 vacancies out of 16 positions. That's about a 25% vacancy rate. This is super important because this hasn't improved over time, right? This has remained consistent for years, despite continued recruitment, hiring, and training. The reason is simple. The market for qualified dispatcher is highly competitive, and every agency in this region is facing the same challenge, not just Antioch. So even while doing everything right, staffing hasn't recovered. Which means today a small number of call takers are carrying a constant high pressure workload every single shift. They're not just busy, they're operating at their max limit. And when a system runs at its max limit long enough, it doesn't stabilize. What happens is it starts to break. So this slide is where delays occur today at Antioch. So this is what happens when pressure looks like in real time. You've got three things happening at once. High call volume with limited staffing, non-emergency calls stacking up, and delays in language access. These things don't happen separately, they compound together. So for your call takers and dispatchers, what are they doing today? They're handling multiple calls at once, managing radio traffic, coordinating field response while new calls continue to come in. So this isn't about effort. There's too much coming in and not enough people to handle it. This is where we need to be very real what happens next, because this is where an avalanche effect starts to begin. It begins with staffing pressure, call volume builds, call takers are stretched thinner, and fatigue starts to set in. Burnout starts to happen, and people leave. We've seen this happen many times at other agencies before. So what starts to happen is you're even more short-staffed. Now non-emergency calls starts backing up, which means people are waiting longer. They're hanging up, they're calling back, call volume is now increasing again on non-emergency calls. Then eventually your 911 calls starts getting impacted. That's when response times increase. When that takes longer, it takes longer to get units on the scene. That's when situation awareness drops. We all know this is gonna happen. When response slows down, crime goes up. Crime does not wait for anyone. So the question becomes, how do we stop that cycle? And the answer isn't about replacing people, it's about supporting them at every point where your system is breaking down. That's what Prepared is. This is a platform designed to give your call takers and dispatchers superpowers across the entire call life cycle. Think about a single call. Before the call even reaches a call taker, routine non-emergency calls can be handled automatically. Then immediately gives your team capacity back. During the 911 calls, this is where the pressure is highest. This is where details get missed. This is where language becomes a barrier. With Prepared, your call takers have real-time transcription, real-time translation, and key details surface generated instantly. They're no longer trying to process everything in their head or focus on getting that info into CAD. They can focus on the caller and make sure everything and everyone is safe. So I want to bring this to life in a real way. Picture what your call takers are dealing with today. A major incident comes in, maybe a shooting, a vehicle collision, something high risk. Now you're not getting one call, you're getting 5, 10, sometimes more at the same time. And with 2 to 3 dispatchers on duty, they're trying to listen, type, ask questions, remember details, and coordinate response all at one time. That's where things get hard, not because of your people, but because no one can process that much information perfectly in real time. So this is where Prepared comes in. While the call taker is focused on the caller, the system is working alongside with them in the background. It transcribes everything in real time. It flags critical details like weapons, injuries, location. It generates a live summary of the incident as it's unfolding. So instead of trying to catch everything manually, your call takers can stay focused on what matters most, the person on the other line. It also solves one of the biggest challenges Lieutenant Maloney called out in the staffing report, which is language delays during emergencies. So instead of waiting minutes for translator, this enables real-time two-way communication instantly, so critical information comes in faster. 1 second matters. So I want to shift to something mostly every community member has experienced, and frankly, something your call takers deal with every single day, which is non-emergency calls. Right now, the reality is when the 911 calls come in, it has to take priority. That means non-emergency callers, people reporting petty theft, noise complaints, suspicious activity, or other non-emergency calls, they're put on hold and waiting. Sometimes they wait a long time, sometimes they hang up, sometimes they call back again and again, and now your call takers aren't just handling calls, they're managing repeat demand and frustration on top of everything else. So this is where we can give your team real relief. Instead of putting those callers on hold, Prepared engages them immediately, not with the phone tree, not with press 1, press 2. This is a dynamic conversation. The caller speaks naturally, explaining what's going on, and the system gathers the key details right away. What happened, where it happened, who's involved. Everything is captured, structured, and logged. The agencies that have implemented Prepared saw a 30 to 50% reduction in non-emergency calls volume and very high satisfaction from both staff and the public. And I want to emphasize something very important. A human is always in the loop. Callers can always reach a real call taker. If something escalates, it's immediately flagged. Call takers can jump in at any time for any reason. If that situation turns into an emergency, the system automatically knows. It immediately transfers the call to a call taker with all the information already captured. So now the caller does not have to repeat themselves and your team does not have to lose valuable time, because in an emergency, like Lieutenant Maloney has mentioned, we all know that every second counts. Language access in real time. So I want to spend a moment here because this is just not a feature. This is directly tied to Antioch's commitment to language access. So your policy makes it very clear. Every resident, regardless of language, must be able to access emergency services quickly and effectively. The challenge today is Antioch's system isn't built for speed when language is involved. Let me give you a quick example. A 911 calls in. A 911 call comes in. A mother is calling because her child isn't breathing, but she's speaking Spanish. Your call taker answers, but they don't understand her yet. So now they have to identify the language, connect to interpreter, wait for that connection, then go back and forth to understand what's happening. Sometimes the interpreter even misses crucial information. So all while minutes are passing, and in a situation like that, those minutes matter. Now imagine that same call while waiting for an interpreter. The call taker immediately sees and understands what the caller is saying in real time. They can respond instantly, they can start giving instruction immediately, and they can dispatch the correct unit out. There's no delay, there's no handoff, no gap in understanding. That's the difference. Instant translation is just the tip of the iceberg. This is also giving your team faster response in critical moments, clear communication under pressure, and making sure every resident in Antioch, regardless of language, gets the same level of service when they call for help. And just as important, your call taker stays in control the entire time. They're not waiting on the system is finally keeping up with them. Antioch's police department saw this in real time with the real 911 call when they visited an agency that is using Prepared. I want to shift gear for a moment because everything we've talked about so far is happening in real time. This is about automated quality assurance that happens post-calls, which is just as important. And this is where Prepared is not just helping call takers and dispatchers, it's also directly supporting your supervisors. This is where you either catch issues, improve performance, and protect your team. Let me give you a quick example. A call comes in, it's a domestic violence situation. Your call taker handles it, gets unit out, and the call ends. Everything seems fine, but later when you review it, you realize a key detail about a weapon wasn't captured clearly. A protocol step was missed. It might have been something small, but it's still important. Now imagine that happening across dozens or hundreds of calls, and your supervisors don't catch it right away. Not because they're not doing their job, but because they simply don't have the time to review everything. What this does is gives your supervisors the same kind of support we're giving your call takers. Instead of reviewing a small sample of calls, they now have visibility into 100% of calls automatically. Every call is analyzed, checked against your protocol, and scored. The system flags the ones that needs attention and even shows the call takers that are improving and doing better. So now, for call takers, they get better feedback, clearer coaching, and support to improve. For supervisors, they're not digging through hours of recording, they're focusing on the calls that actually matter, and they can coach more effectively in less time. So Prepared is giving your entire operation the ability to catch issues early, reduce risk, and continuously improve performance even when staffing is tight. I'll keep this one simple. Today, preparing records, audio transcripts, summaries all take time and pulls staff from operations. Prepared streamlines that. Everything is in one place, searchable and easy to compile while the city maintains full control over all data and release decisions. So it's proven results at agencies like yours. We're in hundreds of agencies today. The ones in California, Tracy, California, Richmond, we have Alameda County, Galt, LAPD, just to name a few that's in California. We all know that, agencies using Prepared are seeing faster call processing, better accuracy, and full visibility into every call. The city of Baltimore, they moved from reviewing a fraction of calls to 100% QA coverage, improving performance and accountability across the board. And in places like Delaware County, they've cut down language delays dramatically, getting critical information faster and dispatching units quicker. So this is assistive across all operations at your center. So what's important to understand here, this isn't just a tool for one group in the center. This is something that supports everyone involved in your operation. For your call takers, this gives them real-time supports on every single call. They're not relying on memory alone anymore. They have a second set of ears and eyes helping them in the moment. For your dispatchers, they're getting clearer, more accurate information faster, which means better decisions and quicker deployment in the field. For your supervisors, they now have visibility into what's happening across the floor in real time and the ability to step in, support, and coach when it actually matters. And now you have real insights into performance, trends, and where improvements can be made without having to dig through hours of calls. And when your setter is already stretched, you don't need more pressure on individual roles. You need something that's going to lift the whole entire operation together. I want to address something that I know is top of mind whenever we talk about AI. That's security and control. Prepared is built specifically for public safety. It's CJIS aligned. It operates with your existing environment. And most importantly, you maintain full control over data at all times. This is not a system where your data is being shared, sold, or used externally. Everything stays within your agency and the access is controlled based on your policies. So at the end of the day, this gives you the benefit of advanced technology without giving up control, security, or oversight. And sticking to oversight, a human remains control at all times. I feel like this is the most important point of everything that we've talked about. This technology does not make decisions. It does not replace anybody at your agency or center, and it does not take control of your operations. Your people remain in control with every call, every decision, and every outcome. What Prepared does is give them support in a moment where the job is hardest. When calls are stacking up, when information is coming fast, when the stakes are high, think about it like this. This is not a replacement, this is a co-pilot. And a co-pilot doesn't take over. A co-pilot helps you see more clearly, helps you react faster, helps you stay ahead of what's happening. But the person in the seat is still flying the plane. That's exactly what Prepared does for your center. It gives them superpowers that I mentioned earlier. It gives them better visibility, better awareness, better support so they can do their job at the level that they were trained to do. Because the reality is your team is already doing everything they can. They're working under pressure. They're making critical decisions every day. This doesn't change that. It makes it possible for them to succeed in it. So at the end of the day, this isn't about trusting technology. It's about supporting the people you already trust and giving them the tools to perform at their best when it matters most. So if we take a step back and look at everything we've talked about today, the reality is clear. Your dispatch center is operating under constant pressure. Staffing challenges haven't gone away. Call volume isn't slowing down. And if nothing changes, we all know where that leads. We talked about that avalanche earlier, where call volume builds, your people get stretched thinner, burnout sets in, and eventually your 911 response starts to feel the impact. That's not a future risk. That's the path most agencies are already on. But that outcome is not inevitable because this isn't about replacing your team. It's about giving them the support they need to succeed in the reality they're already facing. This is about empowering your call takers and dispatchers, supporting your supervisors, and strengthening your entire operation so your team can perform at their best when it matters most. This is where those superpowers come in. Again, not replacing your people, but elevating them by giving them a co-pilot while they remain in control every step of the way. And just as important, you're not doing this alone. You have a dedicated team supporting every step of the way, from implementation to long-term success. And the best part is I'll be your dedicated rep. I'll be right there through that whole process. And just to let you know, we do take this partnership seriously because this isn't about deploying technology. It's about making sure it works for your team. So at the end of the day, this comes down to one question. Are we giving your people the tools they need to succeed in the environment they're already operating in? Because they're already doing everything they can. Prepared just makes sure that they're not doing it alone. And I want to thank everyone for their time. We truly appreciate it. Our team is here to answer any questions, address any concerns, and have an open conversation of Prepared. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nguyen. Do we have any public comment?
No public comments, thank you.
Okay.
Do you guys want to see our presentation?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, demo, right?
Oh, is it ready?
I
Is
can
it
show
ready?
you, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how to get here from here. Is it the same, power stick? Oh. You're out of my wheelhouse right now. Let me check with our AV staff.
Just for those in the audience and watching at home, we're just trying to figure out how to get the presentation running through our software. Right. Okay, well, while they're getting that ready, I'm just going to call for a temporary break. Madam Clerk, do I have a motion to take a break? 5 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, can you please call?
Commissioner Solis,
Yes.
Commissioner Benoni,
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson,
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Aye.
Commissioner Lacioja,
Aye.
Vice Chair Williams.
Yes.
Chair Taylor is absent. Motion passes to take a 5-minute break at 7:08. Thank you.
Oh my God, he just fired shots. I'm trying to leave.
Did he drive himself away, or did someone else pick him up?
No, he got in the passenger seat. Someone else must.
Welcome back, everyone. I would like to resume this meeting again at 7:16 p.m. Can I please have a roll call?
Thank you. Commissioner Solis,
Present.
Commissioner Benoni,
Present.
Commissioner Peterson,
Present.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Present.
Commissioner Lacioja, not present, Vice Chair Williams,
Present.
and Chair Taylor is absent. We have a quorum at 7:17. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And I believe we have that presentation up and running from Prepared. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. My name is Bruce Romero. I'm a sales engineer with Prepared. I've spent the last 38 years of my career in the 911 center, recently leaving 911 and coming over to Prepared, but have spent a great deal of time in really every role in the 911 center, from call taker to dispatcher to shift supervisor, and finally the director of a few 911 centers throughout Colorado. Super excited to be with Prepared just because this technology does excite me. When I see something that will actually make a difference in the lives of your staff, I'm excited to be able to offer that. So with that said, I just wanted you to understand that my background is 911. I know nothing else. If I got tossed out of my ear tomorrow, I wouldn't know how to do anything else. 911 is my life and really my passion. So real quickly, I'll just show you, kind of give you the, there we go. The overview of the screen here. Over on the left side, you will notice that we are listing all of the calls that are coming in. So any activity in the 911 center, those calls would be displayed across that left column in that queue. In the center window, this is where we're going to see our translation or our transcription of the call that's taking place. So whether we're transcribing an English call or translating and transcribing a foreign language call, this is where all of that data will be shown, and the call taker will be seeing this on every one of their calls coming in, so they always know where to look, right? We want to make their motions very, very known and repetitive. We want to make sure that they know where to go exactly for the data that they're looking for. On the right-hand side, you'll notice, the map's a little blurry. Let me scooch out just a little bit. A map that shows a few different locations. One is what we call the automated location identification. That's a location provided by the cellular company when those calls come in. We also have a couple of additional data points. One is the actual provided location from the device-based location information through Google or Apple that would show us the actual location of that phone. And then there's one other type of location that's not showing on this screen, but this would be a spoken location. So if I am calling in for my son who lives across town, when I dial 911, it's going to show my location, but I'm actually calling on behalf of someone else. So we also provide, and we're the only ones that provide this capability, a spoken location. So we will also map that location. So if I say he's at the Walmart at 5th and Main, we're actually going to look, find the address for that Walmart at 5th and Main, and plot that location based upon that spoken language, that spoken location. And then in the bottom right corner of the screen, you'll notice a number of things: the overview, location, media, keywords, protocols, and CAD. I'll go into that a little bit more as we get into one of the calls, but I just wanted to kind of highlight where things were and what you were seeing on the screen. All right, so I'm going to create a new incident here. Pay no attention to what I'm doing right now. This is kind of the background work. Okay, we're going to jump into a shooting incident in English.
Location of your emergency.
Hello, yes, I need the police.
Okay, what's your address?
314 Berry Road. There's a car. There's been a shooting. It's a drive-by.
Okay, is anyone hurt?
I took a picture of the car. Yes, someone got shot. I believe 2 shots were fired.
Okay, 314 Berry Road, correct?
Yes, I was outside cleaning my car, and someone came to shoot someone else. It's the same people from last time. I took a picture of the car. I can show you the plate and everything when you get here.
Okay, and you said someone was shot?
I'm not really sure. I think so, though.
Okay, is this at the Middletown Ridge Apartments?
Yes.
Okay, and where are they at in the complex?
It's at one of the apartments.
What apartment number?
I'm apartment A16. I mean A26.
You're calling from 826?
A26. A as in apple. A26.
826.
No, A as in apple. A26.
A as in apple 26. Oh, okay, okay. But which one of the apartments is he at where he got shot?
It's downstairs from that. I'm not sure of the exact number. I can show you when you get here.
Okay, and what does the car look like?
Okay, that gives you a pretty good example of what kind of assistance this product is able to provide to those call takers. So not only are we transcribing every bit of that conversation, so you heard them go back and forth with A26, 826. The AI also heard 826 the first time, but then corrected it the second time it was spoken, even though the call taker still thought it was 826. So it's catching things for them, and because they can see the conversation in front of them, catch some of those mistakes on their own before they get further into a situation of potentially driving the wrong way, right? 5 minutes one way is 10 minutes back the other way, so we want to know the location of this emergency as soon as possible.
So, excuse me, so that example was a dispatcher and a caller.
Correct.
The AI feature on the screen was the transcription as opposed to a dispatcher entering that manually?
Absolutely right. There is no typing going on here whatsoever. This is all being transcribed through the prepared product to show the call taker what's being said as it goes through that call process.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you want to touch on anything else here before we go on to a translated call? Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Excuse me, what's been the error incident with this as it's been implemented?
Okay, so just moving forward, thank you, Mr. Solis, for your question. If they can answer briefly, I just want to make sure that we're able to have a streamlined process so we don't get delayed any further. But if you can hold your questions till the end, thank you.
So are you referring to problems, issues that you see in the transcription? We do have a way to report those back so we can go back in and see what is happening, why that transcription may have been off. We can go back and take a look at that and correct that issue. So Kent pointed me toward the historical incidents. This is an incredibly important feature. This is pulling from historical incidents of all of the calls that have come into your 911 center. So the police department probably has a computer-aided dispatch system that would do something similar for them, but it requires the entry of that information into that system before you would get that historical information back out. With this capability, that is being sourced for them automatically as they answer that call. They don't have to go hunt for that data. It's just showing them what historical incidents took place either from that person calling or that phone number or the address that's being reported. It's going to source all of that for them automatically. All right, I'm going to pop into a Spanish-speaking call. Bear with me one second. We'll play that for just a moment and then we can talk about it really quickly.
911, where's your emergency?
Sí, 950 East Avenue, apartamento D14.
Excuse me, is there anyone there who speaks English?
No, no hablo inglés.
Okay, one moment please, I'm getting assistance.
Okay.
Prepared Translator 95 has joined.
So here what we're doing is requesting that the translator come into the call. And automatically that is going to begin translating the call on the fly, allowing the telecommunicator, rather than having to worry about bringing in a third party, a language line translator service, they can actually begin to work on the call and begin to ask the questions that need to be asked on this particular call.
We found out that they're Spanish speaking right away. We translate that Spanish into English so your call taker can see what's going on in English, and then they're typing in their message in English and it's responding back in their spoken language in Spanish. If you want to play it.
¿Dijo quién es?
No, no sabe quién es y mi esposa tampoco está en la casa.
Está bien. Avenida East 900.
So as you can see, you're still waiting for that live interpreter, but while you're waiting for that live interpreter, you can communicate with the caller in real time and figure out if there's an incident, if everyone's safe, so you guys can dispatch the right unit while you're waiting for that translator. Because as Lieutenant Maloney, on average, about 6 minutes, which is super long time. Anything happens in 6 minutes. So.
And there are times that you call for a translator and that particular language is not available. So then what? This still gives you a capability to move forward through that call flow process. So again, as Kent pointed out, the call taker in the 911 center is typing their message or what they want to say and that's being spoken to the person on the other end of the phone. The person on the other end of the phone, the caller, the citizen is speaking, and it is showing via text in English to the call taker. So that's the call flow process as it goes back and forth to allow us to continue to communicate in that foreign language. Okay.
All right, and then if you want to show real quick like the device info too, so
Oh,
that they
yeah,
get
absolutely.
device info, yeah.
So this is helpful, especially in an incident where potentially there's requirements for that particular phone needed. We're able to see the device manufacturer is an iOS, so this is an Apple phone. We can see the version of the operating system that they're working on. The connection oftentimes will show us how well that is connected, what the connection type is. We can see up here what their signal is. So are they looking at any of the towers, or are they further away from that? But that gives us a number of very important items that we may need to know. And one thing that I didn't see here that we can also identify is the battery signal. So if this happens to be a situation where they are out and about, maybe they're lost, we're trying to find them, we don't want to run that battery all the way down, we have that information to help us guide how long we're going to be on the phone with them, when we're going to call them back, that sort of thing.
And you also get emergency data too. If you want to click on any call on the left-hand side real quick. Right there, emergency data.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you do also get emergency data if they fill it out on their phones, allergies, blood type, all that information is given to your call taker as well. You can leave comments in case they have like a gate code or door code. You can pass that along to any responding units as well.
So that's like on my iPhone, I go in and fill out the health data. As long as I'm willing to share that, that data will show for a 911 operator when we call 911.
And then we're going to show you the non-emergency triage, how that works too. So if you want to hit on the right demo center on the right,
Oh,
yeah,
to your
and then
demo?
go to Kent N,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm gonna call in the non-emergency line. I'm gonna show you how that sounds and how that works right now.
Thank you for calling Antioch's non-emergency line. How can I help you?
I want to report a noise complaint.
I'm here to help you report the noise complaint. Can I start by getting your name and phone number?
Kent Nguyen, 408-204-6896.
Got it, Kent Nguyen. That's 408-204-6896. What is the address of the complaint and where is the noise coming from?
123 Main Street, Antioch, California. It's coming from 2 houses down, and it's been going on for about 4 hours now.
Okay, so the noise is coming from 2 houses down at 123 Main Street in Antioch, California. What kind of noise are you hearing?
Oh my God, I think I hear gunshots.
I am transferring you now. Please stay on the line. The transfer is now...
So as you can see, it's taking notes, it's asking questions. Once it finds out that it's an emergency, it automatically transfers to a human call taker. As you can see on the right corner, it's also generating that summary for you.
That's the key, is sourcing that priority information. So it's not left for interpretation. It is laid out for that call taker and dispatcher in black and white. I don't know if you noticed as Kent was going through the call, as it would source more information from Kent, it would update the overview on the right with more information. When we were back on the shooting call a little bit ago, it was doing the same thing. As more high priority information was sourced, it was updated on the right to give you the most current, most important information first.
Thank you. I was going to ask if we could pause for questions. I know there's a lot, and I don't want our commissioners to forget some important questions they may have. Is everyone okay with that? Yeah? Okay.
And
Sorry, Commissioner, oh, sorry.
yes, I was just going to say yes. Any questions?
Okay.
I'm happy to.
That's all.
address.
Commissioner Peters.
Yeah, so I have quite a few questions. Is it okay if I ask all of them?
If you want to ask one now, and then maybe we at the very end we can get to past the presentation,
Okay.
and then if
Okay.
you have a very important one now, I would.
Okay, so the examples that you guys have shown.
We're good
so
for
far-
questions. Okay, Chief. Thank you.
Okay. So the examples you guys have shown just currently are very good, and I really appreciate them. But I'm kind of thinking that in a real life.
I'm sorry. Wait, we have to do public comment first if the presentation's done. Is that correct, Mr. City Attorney? Or?
Yes, I think there should be a call for public comment.
Okay. Just in case. Is there any public comment, Madam Clerk, on this agenda item?
There are no public comments. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Peterson, please resume.
Okay. So, thank you for the examples you guys have provided. It's really helpful to see how the system works. But I'm also just thinking, from my training and experience, listening to dispatch calls, they tend to be a little bit more frantic than that. So what happens, again, in a situation where the caller is not being necessarily straightforward about what's happening? There's a lot of background noise. It's chaotic. There's all kinds of stuff going on. How does the system interpret things still well, or how does that work? How does it separate what's going on in the background between what the caller is saying?
So, great question. If it can be heard on the microphone, the AI can hear it and potentially interpret, right? So it is utilizing that more forward voice in the conversation. And yes, oftentimes these calls are very frantic, but we showed you a couple of things there. One of those is the assisted call taking capability that will simply hear what is being said and translate or transcribe that information for you. When it comes to the automated non-emergency triage, when Kent called in for, and the system processed that call for him, in that case, the utilization of the context of the call and the inflection of the caller is going to make a difference in that call. And keep in mind, in how it processes that call, keep in mind this is a non-emergency call in this case. The non-emergency triage is only doing those non-emergency calls. As soon as it hits an emergency level, life loss, property loss, that's going to escalate and be transferred to a live call taker. So while, yes, there may be some frantic calls coming in, keep in mind that this is really reflecting on those non-emergency calls.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the only time a caller is going to talk to an AI is on those non-emergency calls. All 911 calls will still be processed by a real call taker.
All right, thank you, Kent.
Yeah.
Ask the rest of them.
Oh, yeah, I can ask the rest of my questions. Okay. We have a very large Filipino community here in Antioch. Can the software interpret Tagalog?
Yeah, Tagalog, yeah, we can. Yeah, we Lieutenant Maloney on the first meeting let us know the languages that were needed to be translated, and we can translate all those languages that Antioch is looking for, including Tagalog. Tagalog, sorry.
So if a caller calls, they're asking, so if a caller calls and it's an emergency and the dispatcher sends a link to the caller to show live video, does that live video save and attach to the officer's report?
Yes, the video is saved in accordance with the agency's retention policy, which we can have it infinite, or we could have it to several days or whatever the policy is.
Okay, and you know how once we interact with third-party applications on your phone and asks you, do you want to allow for this or not, right? So once that prompt happens, how long does Prepared have access to the phone?
As long as the caller allows for it. So the caller can terminate the call or terminate that connection anytime.
Okay. And how are live videos saved? Is the privacy policy similar to body-worn cameras?
We're not prepared to answer that particular question right now, but it is in the terms and conditions of our master services agreement.
Okay.
Yeah, just to chime in on that, anything evidentiary, anything that would come across from a video to the police department would be considered evidentiary and would require us to retain that. Okay. So if somebody did send over a live video of a shooting scene or a traffic collision, we would retain that and it would become part of evidence. It'd probably be stored infinitely until that case is adjudicated.
Okay, thank you.
And I would also say that the retention periods differ based on a bunch of different factors that I don't think we'd be going far afield of what the conversation is at this time. But there are a bunch of different things that affect what may be saved, the period of time it may be saved for.
Okay, thank you. And I think that's it for my questions.
Also, real quick, for live sharing, like the media sharing, you guys can turn that off too. So if you guys don't want that, you guys have the ability to turn off media sharing.
Oh, okay, thank you. I really I just wanted to say thank you all for coming. I really appreciate your time. It sounds like a really great and useful tool for our dispatchers. I know they're having a hard time right now keeping up with our call volume, and I really do appreciate the innovative thought to bring in this new system to try and help with that. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from our commissioners? Commissioner Kennedy. And Officer, I'm sorry, Lieutenant Maloney, if you want to stand close by, so you have to keep going up and down, and at least, unless you need the exercise,
Thank you.
Cheers.
Lieutenant Maloney, thank you to all the folks from Axon. Have our dispatchers observed and been involved in evaluating this whole program?
So we did bring our dispatch supervisor, Stacy Malsom, to both site visits to observe it live at El Paso and at Galt Police Department.
Great, thank you. And then if we were to implement the program, if we were to install it, put it into effect, what type of training is going to be required for our dispatchers to get up to speed on the program, and to ultimately, what would be like the full implementation timeframe?
Implementation timeframe relies on different factors, and so it's difficult for me to say an exact timeframe, but we're talking several months on the order of about 3 to 5 months, let's say. It depends on the current technology environment and things like that. In terms of training, Commissioner, we provide one-day training. The applications are pretty intuitive. In our experience, we've deployed hundreds across the nation. One training per shift pretty much does it. We allow for, we have a knowledge base, we have online training, tutorials, and so all of that stuff's available online and asynchronous, but we do provide live training as well.
Great, and so I would assume if we trained all the dispatchers that we currently have, then as we hired new dispatchers, would they be going through the training with you all, or would they be going through the training with somebody in-house?
As is typical with a lot of our platforms, typically what we would do is have a train the trainer, somebody internally that could train the folks as they come on. In this particular instance, as you all know, we have communications training officers, CTOs, that act like the training officers, for lack of a better term, in dispatch, that would be able to train on the platform. But what you saw here, it's as has been commented on, it's very intuitive interface. It's very, very easy to use, and all of that knowledge base and those articles and video tutorials will exist in-house in the department with the CTOs to train new folks.
And then I know that one of the things that has been raised, and it was something that one of the council members raised, is the whole sole source concept. And I know it was clearer to me this evening that the commitment we would have, if I understood you correctly, is 2 years absolutely, with options to extend?
Correct. As far as the sole source procurement is concerned, this is the only platform that we're aware of that does all 4 of these functions for us. It has the assistive call taking for emergency calls. It has the non-emergency the non-emergency call handling, the quality assurance, and the live language translation. And then the most important factor is the police department, as I'm sure you're aware, is deeply integrated into the Axon ecosystem, which Prepared is a product of Axon. So everything syncs seamlessly with our evidence storage, our repositories that we currently use for evidence. You had brought up, Commissioner Peterson, about video. If a caller is going to send over video, that's going to sync seamlessly with the platform that we already use for our digital evidence, which is through Axon. So that this is the only vendor that we evaluated. We looked at a couple that provided all 4 of these things, in addition to being deeply integrated with our existing evidence system.
Thank you. And then going back to one of the pieces of the puzzle that's also obviously very important, which is the language access portion of the DOJ agreement. Would it be safe to say that in the event this contract was not approved, that leaves us basically out of luck with complying with that language access programming?
No, I wouldn't say that. There are other things that we can do, and we'd be working with Mr. Sapal in order to make sure that we come into compliance there.
So we want, as part of the language access plan and the MOA, we've been mandated to improve the quality of police service that we provide to individuals of different different English proficiencies. And as you just saw with this live language translation, we're not waiting 2, 3, sometimes up to 5 minutes to get an interpreter on the phone to find out why they're calling 911. And I just wanted to add, one of the reasons we did a site visit to El Paso, Texas, as I'm sure folks in the room know, it's a large community right on the border with Juarez, Mexico. They have a very high Spanish-speaking population. And their communication director told me directly that they used to require their call takers and dispatchers to be fully bilingual in English and Spanish as a condition of employment. He told me that this live translation product from Prepared was so successful that they dropped that requirement because it works so well for them, which has helped improve their recruiting, and so that they don't have to specifically recruit folks that are bilingual because this program works so well.
So to the city attorney's point, it's not as if we would be just totally out of luck, but that this program appears to check a lot of boxes pretty seamlessly, as opposed to being in a situation where we would probably have to scramble a bit more.
Well, what's happening now, and I just know this from working firsthand, we're lucky here in Antioch that officers can cross-train to work in our call center, and it's something that I did here for a number of years. So I have a lot of firsthand experience with working in our call center. You're waiting on the phone, waiting to get a translator on the phone. People sometimes get frustrated. They hang up. There's something that's lost in translation, or the interpreter takes too long to relay or translate that information back to the call taker. So here, it's live. It's almost instantaneous. And while we're waiting to get that person on the phone, the dispatcher, the call taker, can ask details about their address, what the emergency is, and they can type questions where the AI will ask the person questions, so we're not sitting here waiting in that period of time, which we currently do. So the options are we continue status quo, where we wait for a translator to get on the phone, or we look at something that can help us improve our delivery of service to folks that don't speak English at a high proficiency.
Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Commissioner Solis.
Thank you, sir. Question on the implementation. Would that require our police department to upgrade their servers?
No.
Okay. Why is that? Especially using AI, and you're using Copilot, right?
No, we use a number of models under the hood, but it's because the software is delivered as a service, so
Okay.
you just need an internet connection.
Okay, okay, great. The other thing I was kind of curious about, have you found then the other communities that have implemented this, has there been any impact to response times for officers on the street? I know this is very much focused on the dispatch, which I agreed with the other comments. There needs to be some help given there. But, you know, street responses.
Yes, thanks for that question, Commissioner. The answer is yes. We have the benefit of seeing this program deployed at hundreds of agencies across the nation. We see not only faster response, but better officer safety in that they have much better context going on scene. And so what you saw during the demonstration is a auto-generated summarization of that 911 call translation. That's happening real time. And officers in the field are no longer waiting for that kind of relay race from caller to call taker to dispatcher to officer. Officers, supervisors, dispatchers, call takers are seeing the transcription real time in that public safety tuned summarization. So we're seeing faster response times and better context going on scene.
And just to add, that's a fantastic question. We watched in real time, you know, exactly how this works. When somebody calls in and they mention certain things like a shooting or a gun, typically we're gonna have to wait for that information to be typed into our system, get added to the call. The dispatcher will relay that information over the radio. This system, if I'm the patrol watch commander, which is my day job, if somebody calls in and mentions a shooting, we can set up the system to immediately notify me at my computer that our dispatch is doing call intake now on a shooting, and it'll tell me that location. So I don't have to wait for all those details to be entered. So to answer your question, I think inevitably that would definitely improve response times because we don't have to wait for all that information to get put into the system. I can know right away that a 911 call taker is on the phone with somebody about a shooting right now and where it's happening.
Okay. All right, thank you. One other question that I had, let's see, kind of went in and out of my head, but I'm sorry about that. I guess that's it for now. Thank you.
Hello. I just have a couple of questions regarding the sites that was selected. First, I would like to know, did you see anything that was kind of like, I would say, something that may not work for the city of Antioch in those sites that, you know, was selected? Or was everything okay? Because I know North Little Rock, Arkansas, that's a hot spot for crime. And so I was just curious to know, was there anything that you saw that may not work for the city of Antioch? That was question number one. And question number two is, how soon can we, APOC, receive the performance data? How long will that take? Because we really want to know if this is benefiting the city of Antioch.
Yeah, I'll take the second question first, if that's all right, just because it's top of my mind. I think I would just defer to whatever the commission feels is reasonable. I think, you know, having the system up and running after all training is completed for a period of 6 months would be maybe a reasonable point to come back to the commission and report out on the results, and then we could decide from there, from that point onward, you know, how it's working, if we've seen specifically how the quality assurance is going for dispatch. And then the first part of your question is, you know, we visited 2 sites. We visited Galt, which for folks that aren't familiar with where Galt is, it's in Sacramento County. It's near Lodi. It's a community that's much smaller than Antioch, and that was the most accessible site to us. They don't have a high call volume. In fact, when we were there for a few hours, I think they only received just a few calls while we were there. When I talked to the dispatchers there, they said that it had worked great for them, that it had reduced the amount of calls that they personally have to handle by over 50%. And that most people, the chief of police, Brian Kolanowski, who used to be a council member here in Antioch some years ago, told me that he'd only received 1 complaint from a member of the public about the system. And that was just a misunderstanding about what the system was designed to do. And it had been implemented for quite some time. The call takers told us that it allows them to focus on emergency calls. You know, you can imagine that a lot of people, they're receiving calls about everything from how to get a copy of a police report, how to get a ticket signed off, noise complaints like we heard in the demo. The system can handle a lot of those routine requests, and it allows the call takers to focus on the emergency calls, the shootings, the car accidents. So they had talked about how that was a benefit to them. In El Paso, when we were watching the live language translation, I thought it was very accurate, but it's not 100%, which is why we still have to get a human on the phone, why we always have a human. It's getting better day by day. This stuff it's amazing how the advancements that are made in this space each and every day. But it's not 100%, and so that's why they're getting a human on the phone. But while they're waiting for that human to come on the phone, they're still getting information like address, what's occurring there, so we're not just waiting in this stuck in neutral trying to get more information.
Thank you.
Commissioner Benani, and then Commissioner Solis.
Okay, so my first question is, how reliable are the transcripts? Like, do they, like how I just said, like a filler word, do they catch every single word? Or, I guess, you know, for the interest of the public, the chain of custody when it comes to if there's like an error on the transcription, if somebody has to, you know, update it, who has that access to, you know?
Those are great questions, especially about the chain of custody. Nothing's 100%, you know, obviously. It's really going to depend a lot on how clearly the caller is speaking. As Commissioner Peterson, you know, mentioned earlier, a lot of these calls are very frantic and very chaotic with a lot of background noise. And so I found that it captures the important stuff from my observations, our team's observations, it's capturing the important stuff very well. But it's retaining that transcription, and that audio is retained. So if it had to go into a courtroom or it had to have a second look, we can always take a look at what the system is transcribing versus what the audio actually captured to ensure that there's a measure of accuracy there. We're going to retain all of those things here so we can provide the best evidence to attorneys, to a prosecutor or defense attorney, if it comes to that level. But I found it to be very reliable and very accurate, especially when you know, we're trying to get information in seconds rather than minutes.
So for the chain of custody, is that the chief, or is that the dispatch, like, I guess, supervisor or sergeant?
No, these are wonderful questions. The chain of custody is maintained in the system, and it's reviewable by, I would say that our current procedure is our dispatch supervisor would oversee that, working in conjunction with our evidence folks. There's robust audit trails for everything throughout the system. You can see who accessed, who viewed, that type of thing. The transcripts can't be changed. So we're not able to alter the information that the system's capturing. That's something that we simply don't have the ability to do.
Okay, and then one other question. So in terms of the assistant, how is an emergency like specifically determined? I know, of course, certain words like gunshot, but what about like a missing person? Is that considered an emergency? Will that go straight to a dispatcher? Or domestic violence where the physical violence already stopped, but the person's still on the, you know, in the home, I guess, or like an assault, but the suspect fled, but the victim has a broken nose? Is that an emergency?
Yeah, so just to be clear, when somebody calls 911, it always goes to a human. This system is just operating in the background as a co-pilot. You may have seen it was kind of small and kind of hard to read, but it's constantly summarizing and updating what it's hearing in the background. So it acts as a co-pilot for those emergency situations. For non-emergency calls, if somebody calls our 10-digit line that's not the 911 line, if they're calling to report something in there, we can set it to whatever parameters we want. So if they mention certain keywords like gun, domestic violence, assault, missing child, the system will automatically push that call to a live human because it knows that that call needs to go to a live human.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Actually, I just had a couple of questions. I really think that this sounds like a really awesome system. I truly do. I have to ask the B word, the budget word, which is because I know that, you know, we have a lot of things that come along that are would be very important for us to implement as a department. And I'm wondering, what does this thing cost? And has it been budgeted for already so that we wouldn't be taking scarce resources from something else and implementing it here, even though this is truly one of those things that I think needs to happen?
So the second part of your question, I'll answer first because the exact budget figure escapes me unless somebody has do you have a copy of the staff report, or do you know the costs offhand? So it's $126,000 the first year and $122,000 for the second year.
Okay.
And to answer the second part of your question is we already knew that this is something that we desperately needed, and we had already appropriated for it in the existing police department budget.
Okay.
We already have the funds set aside for it for this current fiscal year. We just, because of what it involved, obviously it involves technology, the thought is that we needed to bring it to the commission and to the council for a full review.
Yeah, I think 120,000, that's easily a full-time employee cost with benefits. So, and if we're down 2 to 3 dispatchers at this point, sounds like it might be, you know, a good suggestion for us to make. And then the other thing I had, which I thought of after, was the co-pilot that's down in the bottom right as it's translating or transcribing what's going on. Is that in itself admissible to court as evidence in the situation?
Yeah, I believe, yeah, everything that the system's generating for us is admissible.
Okay.
And that was such a powerful feature, and I don't think we really touched on it, is as that 911 caller is taking that information, it's constantly updating the summary. So as people call, they're frantic. They might include details that the call taker may have missed because they're getting 6, 7, 8, 911 calls ringing off the hook. The system will continually update that, and if somebody uses certain keywords that we set up with the system, like gun or shooting, it'll highlight those phrases as a prompt to the call taker so they know, you know, just make sure that this is included. It's the best way to describe it as a co-pilot. It's there working alongside you.
Okay, that's all my questions, Mr. Williams. Thank you.
You know, just for the sake of legal completeness, I'm going to add that the admissibility in court would be subject to whatever a judge would rule in any particular case. So it's hard to say whether or not it would be admissible. There may be some situations where it is. There may be some situations where not, and of course that could change depending on how the law changes.
Thank you. Commissioner Kennedy, did you have anything else?
I just had one more question. So we've talked about, you have the call that comes in about an automobile accident. So you have a call number 1 that comes in, and then you have 2, 3, 4, 5, et cetera. So how does this system help manage those multiple calls? Does that help kind of screen those out, for lack of a better way to put it? Do they let the caller know we've already received calls?
So I'll let the vendor speak on that, but I think one of the best features that I saw of what you're asking about is if we're receiving 3, 4, 5 911 calls about, let's just say, a traffic collision, all of the details that are being reported by these different callers are going to be viewable to the dispatcher that puts that call out to the officers. So if certain details are missed in call number 1 that are mentioned in call number 2, the dispatcher is going to see the summary, like you saw on that kind of co-pilot section, of all the things that are being reported by all of the callers. And then as far as the multiple call intake, I don't know if you have anything to add on that.
Thank you for that, Lieutenant Maloney. That's accurate as of right now. We are building a feature in the future that will allow agencies to set geofences, so configurable geofences, call it like 10 meters or 30 meters, and then it'll be able to, in times of high call volumes, be able to interact and suggest that this might be the same call or a call about the same incident. Call takers will always ask, the caller, we know about this incident. Are you calling about this, or are you talking about another incident? Because there could be another injury.
And so that's very powerful for us, because as I'm sure you can imagine, like if we get a call like a structure fire, we're going to get 10, 15 911 calls about that structure fire. And if the system sees that all the callers are calling from a very specific location, it'll be able to interact with them and tell them, we've received the call already and we're sending emergency personnel. Whereas our current workflow is the call taker has to answer every single call, figure out why they're calling, and be like, yes, we have resources on the way, click next call. The system can automate that for us.
Thank you.
I just have one more question. How often will the supervisors review all of the calls that have been placed? Is it every once a month or every 2 weeks? I hope it's not every 6 months, but.
No, 6 months wouldn't be sufficient. I think that's one of the reasons why we feel like this platform will really help us, is that it's going to give a review of how the calls are handled 100% of the time. Whereas now our current process is more complaint driven. If a member of the public calls and they feel like their call wasn't handled in the appropriate manner, maybe somebody was short with them or rude, we would listen to those calls to see, if they were handled according to our policies and procedures, or if somebody didn't handle those calls appropriately. The current situation is mostly complaint driven. This is going to make that 100% quality review. So if there's things that are missed in a particular call, it'll flag those for review by either the trainer or the dispatch supervisor. So that's a huge enhancement to making sure that we're providing a quality service to the people that call us.
So the calls will be reviewed by a dispatch supervisor, or?
So these are questions that I think that we're going to have to figure out as we implement the program. But obviously, our dispatch center has dispatch leads that kind of act like frontline supervisors for our call takers, and then we have an overall dispatch supervisor that manages the whole unit. And she reports to a lieutenant and or a captain that works in the support services division in the police department. So as it stands right now, we do auditing of calls when we receive a complaint from the public. We have a survey system, which I'm sure folks here are familiar with, where when somebody calls, they'll get a text inviting them to complete a survey, which has worked out really well for us. And if people are dissatisfied with the level of service that they receive from the call taker, then those calls are flagged and we listen to them. That doesn't capture 100% of the calls, obviously. Those are just folks that are telling us that they weren't happy with how the call was handled. So now we're going to go from whatever percentage of that is, arguably smaller, to now 100%.
Thank you.
So I think that we'll be able to listen to these things. If quality issues come up, we'll be able to intervene much quicker, to answer your question.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for your questions. I just want to do a time check. I am cautious of the time. We're at 8:06. I know y'all have families and things to do this evening, so I just want to make sure that we're okay to ask more questions. I know we have possibly 2 more. Is that okay with y'all? Okay, I know y'all, we gotta get things going, but I just want to make sure we were cautious of time.
Do you see this? Do you see the implementation of this as a recruiting tool, and or B, as a retention tool with our current staff?
As anybody in this room can imagine, when you're operating with a 25% vacancy rate, burnout factor is high in dispatch. There's forced overtime. They're working sometimes up to 16-hour shifts. And so anything that could provide them with, the level of assistance that this platform provides is going to be an additive to their well-being and their morale at work. This generation is very tech savvy, and they're seeking out these tools. We're seeing it with our officers as well, and a number of agencies are moving in this direction to figure out how systems like this can enhance their operations. So I see it as a recruiting tool, because if a dispatcher knows that they have an AI assistant working alongside them to help them glean these details from these calls, translate and do all these different things, that is a burden and a pressure that they would have to shoulder themselves previously, where now they have an assistant that can help them address the demands of one of the most stressful professions probably in the country.
Thank you, Commissioner Kennedy. I just want to say, great questions to all the commissioners here tonight, and great answers. I think because this is so fresh and new, we have a myriad of questions, and these are very robust conversation we're having. I think the only thing I want to add to that was kind of made clear in your presentation about this is not going to replace anyone's career, their job, but I just wanted to know, because we are in the early stages of this technology, what safeguards are being in place for future employment for employees. I don't know if dispatch is a part of like a union to sustain their jobs in the future. I see Chief shaking his head, Lieutenant Maloney. Okay, I'm always for workers' rights and things like that, so I just want to make sure that there's been some conversation around that, and as we get more employees in dispatch in the future, how much do we need to further rely on this software, is outside of it being very good for like translation and call time reduction and things like that?
Yeah, I think that's a question a lot of folks have when it comes to anything involving AI. Is this going to replace the human? And that's something that we were emphatic with from the very get-go, that we don't want to replace, the human beings that are answering these calls. That's why it was important to us to have this platform where a human's involved in every single aspect and control of what comes in, whether it's emergency or non-emergency. We are actively hiring and recruiting for dispatcher. We have for a number of years, and this region faces a number of challenges in hiring call takers and dispatchers. It's a very competitive market. Salary's an issue, and this is really designed to help alleviate the burden that our current dispatchers are feeling with a 25% vacancy rate, and to make sure that in the stresses and pressure, I mean, just think for a moment, having only sometimes 2 call takers in Antioch, 2 911 call takers, and taking 5, 6, 7, 8 calls about a traffic collision. Mm-hmm. And one of those call takers is also dispatching on the radio. That's the current state of affairs right now. At most, we'll have 4 working in that room. And as a management team, the concerns about their morale, their burnout, and their well-being, as well as delivery of service, have been at the forefront of this project. Mm-hmm. So there's been no discussions in any way, shape, or form about replacing or eliminating positions, and I think a lot of us would be very opposed to that.
Absolutely. Thank you for that answer. I see Commissioner Benoni has one more thing. I just want to ask, is there a way that this commission can send our dispatch a gift for their proficiency and their longevity on this? It sounds.
I think the best thing that anybody could do is to take a few hours and sit in that room and see the amazing work that they do on a regular basis. Yeah. I would extend that invitation to any of you now, or any members of the public that would love to see just really the extraordinary level of work that they do to deliver service to the public here in town. But if we are successful in this implementation, I'd love to bring you all into that center to see it work firsthand, to see how your evaluation, how your vetting of this system has contributed to something I think it's going to be very successful.
Thank you. Myself and Chair Taylor actually did sit in, and I think, yes, it is very eye-opening experience, and I think that's something we can probably talk about with our training ad hoc. And I'll let Commissioner Benoni get to his question. And then we'll wrap up.
Thank you. With the public in mind, thinking about the live video and how it's, introduced on the call, is there, do you have any plan for a disclaimer? I mean, I'm not sure if legal counsel has anything to this, but if someone called and they wanted to, I guess, broadcast a video of the aftermath of a shooting, and then I guess they're not aware that the statements that they make might open them up to being subpoenaed to testify in court. I know you can't really give a disclaimer to the people who are caught on the video, but the person calling, is there a disclaimer for them?
I think that we're not even anywhere close to having that type of discussion at this point. Once we have, once this is the contract that's applied, we can sit down and we can discuss. I can discuss with the department what disclaimers we feel are necessary, which ones we think are prudent, which ones we think aren't prudent, but we haven't even reached that point yet.
So I think this is a very powerful question that I'm going to make note of. If we're successful in the implementation, as the vendor pointed out, we don't have to turn on this live video feature at all. I think the thing that came to mind when I thought of live video is, heaven forbid, an active shooter incident where maybe folks are in lockdown. They, if they're reporting something to the call taker, what would be better than to have a live feed or live view of what that person is actually seeing? that the dispatcher, the call taker, or the officers could see themselves from their in-car computer. So we saw that as something that would be of great benefit, potentially if the school was placed in lockdown or there was something that was emerging, but we also don't want to put members of the public at risk either. As I'm sure folks are familiar with in here, when somebody calls 911, that's recorded, and those types of details are often subpoenaed or requested as part of a case, and the department is obligated to turn that over. But you bring up some issues where we want to make sure the public trusts and has confidence in us that if they're sharing that information with us, that they're not reluctant to report things in the future, I think is what I'm gathering. And that's something that I want to be very sensitive to. So if we make the decision to turn on this live video feature, we'll certainly talk to the city attorney and the vendor about best practices for making sure that there is a disclaimer so that folks know, that could become part of an evidentiary record.
Thank you. All right, seeing that we have no more discussion around this, thank you very much, every one of you. And yeah, we can't wait to see the updated presentation.
Great, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Are we providing any direction per the agenda? I mean, are we expected to provide a recommendation to the council, any direction, suggestions?
I think this was just a presentation, as council already had this on their agenda at the previous meet, not this last Tuesday, but it was oh, I must have walked out early. So, Kevin.
I'm not aware whether or not council directed that the commission should be making a recommendation on this. I believe they just wanted a presentation to the commission first, so then the commission can give their input. Council, at their pleasure, can also come back and they can watch this presentation, see what the commission's had to discuss, and that can inform their discussion or their opinion when this goes back before council, whenever that may be. I'm not sure when that's going to be yet, but that's something that will be worked out internally.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Kennedy, for that question. We can move on now to discussion item, community event door-to-door resource list, which should be attached to everyone's agenda tonight. I'm not sure that we have a presentation other than this list.
I do believe this was Chair Taylor's requested item. I see that she's not here tonight, so I will leave it up to the commission to decide what they want to do with this item.
Yeah.
I would like to ask that we continue this to our next meeting. Our chair, Chair Taylor is not present at our meeting, so I make a motion that we table this to the next meeting.
I second that.
Okay.
Commissioner Solis?
Aye.
Commissioner Benoni?
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson?
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Lacioja?
Aye.
Vice Chair Williams?
Aye.
And Chair Taylor is absent. The motion passes. To continue item 4-2, community event door-to-door to the next meeting. Thank you.
Awesome. So discussion item 4.3, excuse me. Antioch Police Oversight Commission discussion regarding meeting frequency and meeting dates. This is something that has come up for over the last couple meetings or so from last year. I think most of the work we've been doing has been in the background. We come here for discussion and to vote, obviously, on things that we discuss in our ad hocs. And so I think with our busy lives and the fact that a lot of our meetings on Mondays do fall on holidays, has anyone given any thought to a new meeting date that may be available to have here at the council chambers that fits that we can find that fits everyone's schedule? It looks like Commissioner Kennedy wants to say something, so I'll stop right there. And just to give you guys a heads up, this discussion item is, should we move to one date, and should we also change the date when we meet?
So one of the things that I think we could probably accomplish first is to make the specific request to the council to move to simply one meeting, at least one meeting a month. I went back through the meeting minutes for the city council, for APOC, going back to, I believe it was February or March of 2025 when the whole conversation about changes to the ordinance came up. And one of the things that the council did agree to or was receptive to was change to at least one meeting each month and delete the language that currently exists for July and December. So my suggestion would be that first and foremost, we get the request to the council that allows us to meet at least once a month, period. We can then come back and look at the possibility of whether we want to stay on a Monday or whether we want to go to a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. But let's face it, we've got to sit and look at all of the other board and commission schedules as well as the council schedules to really make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we have the ability, even if we stayed on Monday, to make that work if it's once a month,
Mm-hmm.
or at least once a month.
City Attorney?
No, the only thing I was going to chime in and say, and if the commission were to do that, I think the way that this would go is that the commission would take a vote. If the vote for this recommendation, if that passes, then that would be something that we would work on internally, getting a staff report before council, presenting it to them. I think a little bit more research just needs to be done on exactly how that would go because, of course, the ordinance prescribes that the commission meets twice a week. I do believe the council would have the right to, at least for a limited period of time, reduce that to not twice a week, twice a month.
Mm-hmm.
Would have the power to reduce it to one time per month in some limited capacity until the ordinance amendment is actually carried through, or we could just make, instead of doing all the ordinance at one time, just changing that piece of it, because that's a very, very small piece, generally speaking. But I just wanted to give you, so how that process would look. So if you vote tonight, then we would be bringing it forward. I cannot promise exactly when we would bring it before council.
Mm-hmm.
I can say there's a likelihood it wouldn't come up at the next meeting because we're already working on the agenda for that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that the next meeting is next week. We have a special council meeting tomorrow. We have a lot of other things there, so we can maybe get it on the first meeting in May. That would be, and that's a maybe. That's not a promise, but that would be the earliest I think that it would be going before council.
And just thank you for that clarification. Would this then be subjected to a first and second reading? Or would this be able to be something that was simply acted upon and then would be able to go into effect? Or would there still be like that they would vote and there would be like the 30-day implementation?
For the permanent change, yes, they would have to be the first and second reading. That's just what's required under California state law since we're a general law city. And as I said, this is the part that depending on the vote, if there's a vote and depending on how it goes today, I will do some research and to see if there's any kind of short-term fix we can do that would be kind of around that through some type of council action. It would involve some council action, but I'm not aware of whether or not it would require a full ordinance amendment at this time, as long as it's just going to be some type of limited thing until the amendment's ready to go, if that makes sense.
I follow. Quick question before I allow Commissioner Solis. Would this be considered a presentation? Because we were supposed to go to public comment if there wasn't a presentation.
There has been no actions or anything taken yet, so I think we're still okay. There wasn't. This was more of a discussion item for the commission to be able to discuss what they think.
Yeah.
But before I would say before, and let's find out the discussion now, before any action is taken, I think there should be a call for public comment because that could change the opinion or it could open things up for further discussion.
Got it. And Commissioner Solis, with that I'll ask is your statement, comment about, can it wait till after public comment?
I think I'd like to wait till after.
To wait, okay. That's appropriate. Okay, Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment?
No public comments, thank you.
Okay, I do see a member of the audience. Okay.
We do have one public comment.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll fill it out. I just want to remind you guys that we are still under DOJ investigation, so let's keep that in mind. I'm not sure the Brown Act, if it falls underneath that as far as the amount of meetings that we need to have, or if 1 or 2 meetings is one enough. I'm just not sure, so I just wanted to keep that in mind.
Thank you.
And when it comes to, at least with the DOJ agreement, we have been in consultation with Mr. Sapal, who is here, and it's my understanding, I'm seeing him nodding, that if it were to be at least one meeting per month, I don't think that should we wouldn't run into any issues there. I see him shaking his head when I'm saying that. I don't necessarily need to call him up for that. I just kind of wanted to be sure there and to ensure the commission of there. And then, as I said, with I don't see any issues where we'd be running afoul of the Brown Act. I just need to do a little bit of research into exactly how we can get this done in the most expeditious way possible, because it seems, at least from the discussion that there is a desire, and there has been an expression from the council that they wanted to change that. So I just wanted to, what I said earlier was just kind of informing the commission about some of the legal peculiarities that come here, just some of the nuts and bolts of how this decision may go going forward.
Thank you. Is there any more public comment on this agenda item?
No more public comments, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Solis? Commissioner, excuse me. Commissioner Solis.
That's okay. Thank you, Mr. Williams. My comment was this, that in sort of preparing for tonight's meeting, I looked back on the videos of some of the previous meetings so I could get an idea of what was going on and how to conduct myself appropriately, of course. So, in my process of signing papers and onboarding and whatever, and everything else that was involved with that, I did get a schedule of the meetings that are scheduled to come up. And I counted them off. There's 13 that we have that are coming up for the remainder of the year. And I think what Commissioner Kennedy said was really right on the money for me. The other thing, I kind of looked at it another way also, which was that kind of in line with what our public speaker said, was that we do have the MOU that we're trying to make sure we think that things are in compliance with that, of course. So, in my newness up here, I might need to have a special introductory session with either the chief or someone else on staff about how far we've come in terms of complying with the MOU. And the reason I say that is because having worked in the private sector most of my life, I know that, you go and you go to the boss and you ask them for something, and they'll say, well, how far are you along in getting your current job done before I allow you to take Saturday and Sunday off too? And if it's a good answer, if it's like, well, things are on track and I've checked off all these various things that I need to do, then yeah, go ahead, and you don't have to work 7 days a week. You can only work 5. So, so I want to make sure that we're far enough in implementation and compliance that, just as the speaker was saying, that we don't, the council doesn't say, we're too far out yet and we need you guys to really put more effort into it. So I know that's not a question that can necessarily be answered tonight, but those were some of the thoughts I had, but moving to one meeting a month, that sounds good. Monday seems to have worked for everybody from the previous films I saw, but, because there are other commissions and council and boards that also occupy these chambers, so, that was it. Thank you.
And
I'll add,
Oh, sorry. I will just say, you know, when it comes to compliance, Mr. Sapal gave a presentation a month ago, maybe, where he went through and he talked about where we were at that point. And he does give regular presentations both to council and to the commission. So if you go back, you'll be able to see where we are. And it's my understanding that as of now, we are right where kind of we should be. The USDOJ is, they're happy with the progress that we made, or they're satisfied with the progress that we've made. So there's been no issues with us kind of lagging behind. At least that's my understanding. And Mr. Sapal, that's one of the reasons why he was kind of retained in this matter. He's there to kind of give technical assistance to the city, but more importantly, he is the conduit between us and the USDOJ. He's there to kind of make sure that we are keeping up with our side of the bargain. And if we're not keeping up with our side of the bargain, it is his responsibility to go to them and tell. And then he would come back to us, and there would be some type of discussions if necessary. But we haven't reached that point yet. I think that we've been moving forward quite expeditiously on this, and I believe that the DOJ is satisfied with the actions we've been taking.
Yeah. Thank you, City Attorney. And thank you, Mr. Solis. I'll just also add and uplift that part of that agreement is also to do work outside of the commission around community engagement, policy matters, which we've done. And I know I'm missing a bunch, but I just want to know that, the meeting is one thing, but doing the work that is required of us too outside of the chambers is very important as well. And as long as we do that work, I think we'll remain in compliance, I hope. And I have great faith that we will. Commissioner Peterson.
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that I largely agree with Commissioner Kennedy and Commissioner Solis. I think for me, when I think about the DOJ report that was presented to us last month, it looked like we were about 95% in compliance with what DOJ is looking for. And to me, as a new commissioner, what that says is that we're closing a chapter, but in the same token, we need to really think about as APOC, as the council in alongside DOJ, what is the future of APOC? As of right now, when I think about our immediate future and our horizon, I think going back to one meeting is great. I can also foresee a future where we take on more work and we will need that second meeting back. And I say to that, when we get there, we'll get there. But I think as of right now, based on the work that we're doing today, one meeting a month is good. For me, Mondays have been excellent. So I know for me, after next week, Wednesdays are going to be real sketchy. And Thursdays are just it's not going to happen for me because I have other commitments. And so that leaves Monday, Tuesday, or Friday. And I try to leave Tuesdays open for council meetings just in case we need to go and present or if we need to show up and represent APOC, right? So I think Mondays for me have largely worked out. I just think it's just deciding on what day we want to host a meeting, go back to one meeting a month, and until we can really figure out what our goals are going to be for the future. And also, I'm also open to, even if we want to have a second meeting, maybe that second meeting is, we need to participate in public. I know that caps the amount of commissioners that can participate because of the Brown Act, but I'm also open to doing that. Maybe the second meeting, one of us or the three of us, we decide to go to a public event and we go do that instead. So I'm also open to that as well.
Okay, I'll go. Thank you, Commissioner Peterson. I'll go Commissioner Benani and then Commissioner Kennedy.
Thank you. I think Commissioner Peterson answered a lot of what I was going to ask. I was going to ask, as a newer member, for some of the context behind this discussion, I know that we're running into conflicts with the holiday schedule. So I was just going to ask you, Vice Chair Williams, if you could give me some context. And I also, I guess I am still mindful that even if we go to one meeting per month, we are going to try our best to be accessible to the public and still have that kind of, the access so that they can, contact us more than once a month.
Thank you. I'll just add to, I just had a quick question about Mondays. So it does seem like a lot of the holidays do fall on like the first Mondays of our calendar. How would we decide on which Monday would be best suited? If, per se, some holidays fall on the third Monday, is there any context to that, like decision making? And I think that's another thing to take a look at before we establish if we want to go down to one day. I know our chair supports one day a month. I'm just trying to get the idea and the will of the commission as a whole. If we were to look at which Monday would be best, is there a way that staff can look at the calendar and see which has less holidays throughout the year?
Well, I can tell you that the second and fourth Mondays would not be good because that would be the day before a council meeting. Which kind of by necessity leaves the first and third. As for which one, the first or third Mondays is better or worse, I think it really depends. It depends on the year. It depends on a whole lot of different things. And that's kind of one of the nuances, somewhat difficulties of with this ordinance, and there's a reason why it exists, is that the meetings are supposed to be regular meetings. In order for it to be a regular meeting, it has to have a fixed day that it's going to be held. And that fixed day can either be a numerical day, but then that, of course, that would change. What it's often done, it's a fixed day of the week and a fixed week of the month. So that's kind of why the decision's been made. And that's kind of what keeps it. That's what keeps the meetings regular, as it were.
So to that point,
thank you.
Would we be able to? It's conceivable, because I believe the ordinance would read at least one meeting a month. That we could then take a look at the calendar. I mean, the one Monday that is bad is Labor Day Monday, right? So. That's not to say that we couldn't schedule a special meeting in the month of September.
No, of course you would. Of course you'd
right?
be able, yeah, of course you'd be able to do that.
To set that up. But the other thing that I just wanted to go back to is one of the reasons that we had talked about this one meeting, going to at least one meeting a month, is it would allow us to also perhaps pick up some of the in-person training that we have the goal to accomplish. Having 2 meetings a month and an in-person training is asking a lot of folks. And as Commissioner Peterson mentioned, it allows us to go and I think be accessible in other events, other meetings, etc., and or to hold an event on another day in a month within the boundaries of what we can, sort out appropriately. So I think that and the other thing I think at the end of the day, one meeting a month puts staff in a better position, quite frankly. I mean, for the chief the chief is not gonna necessarily have like big staffing news from the first Monday to the third Monday, for example. So I think it allows staff to have a little more room to breathe and to bring us perhaps more information once a month.
Yep. Oh, Commissioner Lacey Oha.
Yes, I'm going to be transparent, and and I want everyone to hear me very clear, and it's not to throw stones, but what I saw as a problem was the cancellation and the adjournment of our meetings. There were several last year. There were several meetings where we did not meet. And it started to become a topic of conversation among residents in the city of Antioch. So with that being said, meeting once a month, I believe will work in APOC's, would be beneficial to APOC. To be truthfully and honest with you, I did not like it when meetings were canceled and when there was an adjournment. And I know there were a couple of incidents where I came down here, and it's like, okay, what's going on here? We have to do better. We cannot continue to have cancel out meetings and have adjournments of meetings just because we don't meet a quorum. I understand things do happen, but we all took an oath to serve our community. So whatever else we got going on out there, we have to make time for this. Let me give you an example. I lost my father in December, last day of December 31st. I could not be here that meeting, which was that following Monday. And I understand things do happen, but I believe it's a must that we think about meeting just once a month. Because what I see here is everyone's availability. Everyone meeting twice a month, I just don't think that will be in our best interest at this time. And I hope I'm making myself clear, because I know I'm probably rambling and all over the place. But last year, I know what happened last year and the year before, and that cannot continue. It cannot continue.
Thank you. Made yourself very clear, and I understand your reasoning. Yes. I'll keep it to that. So with that said, I would like to make, is there a motion? Let me know if I'm doing this correctly, City Attorney. Is there a motion to move? How would I motion this?
I move.
Okay.
I'll let Commissioner Kennedy take a crack at it.
I move that APOC requests that the City Council approve a change to the existing ordinance to read APOC will hold at least one meeting a month rather than twice a month.
And if I may just make
Please.
Just a little addition, and would you also like the City Attorney's Office to look in to see if there's a way of doing that short of having to go through the full amendment process?
Absolutely.
Okay, then that will be the motion.
Second. Say it again. Huh? Do you need to say it again?
I believe that we have it. We should have it clear enough for the record, and I understand it. So I think that's one of the most important parts.
Second. Go ahead. We have a motion by Commissioner Kennedy, a second by Commissioner Benoni. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Thank you. Commissioner Solis?
Aye.
Commissioner Benoni?
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson?
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Lacey Oha?
Aye.
Vice Chair Williams?
Yes, thank you.
And Chair Taylor is absent. The motion passes to take the decision to City Council for approval to move to one meeting per month at minimal, and that the city attorney will review for the most expeditious way to process it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on our agenda, I would like to suspend the rules and actually move these items to our next meeting for 4-4 and 4-5 due to our chair not being here to have a full discussion around to discuss and approve ordinance amendments, and the fact that she is the budget and the budget ad hoc. I would hope that she could be at the next meeting to discuss those two.
Can I pose a question?
And move up public comment.
Can I just pose a question on item 4-4? When I saw this and it said to approve ordinance amendments,
You were wondering what amendment?
what amendments are we approving?
And that was a question I had for city attorney and our chair, but she is not here.
This was an item that was asked to be put on the agenda. I don't know exactly
Okay.
what the discussion was going to be, but I believe since this was Chair Taylor's item and she requested it, she may be able to expound upon exactly what she was hoping to get out of the discussion item.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So go ahead.
Because to my recollection, we never did discuss any ordinance amendments. We never did have that discussion. So why would this even be put on the agenda anyway?
Mhm.
You know, so we definitely need to continue this to our next meeting, and then we may have to table it after that. You know.
Sure. How would I motion this?
It would just be a motion to continue these two items to the next meeting.
So no suspending of rules.
You don't need to
Okay.
suspend the rules, however, before the motion is made, there should be a call for public comment, just because that may affect whether or not maybe somebody will change their mind as to whether or not these items should be moved.
Okay. Is there any public comment for 4-4?
There are no public comments for 4-4. Thank you.
Commission, we already discussed, so are we?
I think, if there's a call for public comment for 4-5, then I think
do it
it may
together.
be, I don't think we're running afoul of the Brown Act by motioning to
Two
move
items
both
together.
items together.
Thank you. Any public comment for item 4-5?
No public comment for 4-5. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can I get a motion to move these items to our next meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion from Commissioner Peterson and a second from Commissioner Lacey-Oha. Can I please have a vote?
Thank you. Commissioner Solis?
Aye.
Commissioner Benoni?
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson?
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Lacey-Oha?
Aye.
Vice Chair Williams?
Yes.
And Chair Taylor is absent. The motion passes to move 4-4 and 4-5 to the next meeting date. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Next item, Madam Clerk, do we have public comments?
We do. We have two public speakers, Marjorie Carell and La Pamela Renee. Pierce. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Margie Carroll, and I'm 71 years old. I am here today because for 2 years, my elderly husband and I lived through ongoing harassment that no one should have to endure, especially at our age. The situation involved my former neighbor, Nicole Cedeno, along with her daughter, Selena Cedeno. During that time, we experienced repeated harassment, including threats, intimidation, and disturbing behavior. Some of these incidents were captured on video and reports were made, yet little to no action was taken to protect us or hold them accountable by the police. There is also a concerning statement on record where Selena Cedeno claimed she was allowed to accompany the police department, Antioch Police Department, on police calls and witness traumatic scenes. One that she described was that her mother showed them a dead body when she was 5 years old and told her that this is what happens when you do bad. I believe this raises serious questions that should be reviewed as part of a broader investigation. The situation has had a serious impact on my health and well-being. The stress and fear contributed to medical issues that required me to undergo, an MRI. At 71 years old, no one should be placed in a position where harassment affects their health like this. What is even more concerning is that instead of being held accountable, they were allowed to move from Antioch to Oakley, and from what I understand, similar behavior is now affecting others. This raises a serious question. How many people have to be harmed before meaningful action is taken? I am here today because the system failed us, not only at the law enforcement level, but also within the Contra Costa County courts. Despite threats and evidence, there was no meaningful protection or accountability. I am requesting that both the police response and the handling of this matter within the courts be formally reviewed and investigated. I am also asking for this matter to be elevated, including review by the Department of Justice, if necessary, due to the ongoing pattern and seriousness of what has occurred. At 71 years old, my husband and I should not have to live like this. We deserve safety, dignity, and to know that when we ask for help, it will be taken seriously. I have video evidence and documentation to support everything that I am saying, and I am prepared to provide it. Thank you for your time and for taking this matter seriously. And there's one other thing. On my personal note, the video of Nicole threatening to shoot me, which was caused me to go for the MRI to see if I had a stroke, because I started stuttering so bad that it still affects me now when I try to talk. If I don't have something in front of me to read, I'm sorry, I can't get my words out. Anyway, we know why she was protected. Can I just finish? We know why she was protected over the last 15 plus years, because of the back of the blue past police chiefs and members of the city officials, and now some council members at back of the blue
Thank
clan.
you, Marjorie.
Okay, thank you.
If you would like, you can submit your statement to our city clerk's office, and so that we can get the full statement and pass it along.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I live in pain, and so everything is on here, so I don't. I can email it.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Marjorie. LaPamela Pierce, Renee Pierce.
Hello. My name is LaPamela Pierce, and I'm just going to read what I have here. I'm here today to request accountability and transparency and a formal investigation into how repeated harassment complaints have been handled in Antioch and now continuing in Oakley. For over 15 years, there has been ongoing issues involving Nicole Sedano and Selena Sedano, her daughter, including repeated incidents of harassment. These concerns have been reported multiple times to the Antioch Police Department. Despite the length of time and the repeated nature of these reports, there appears to have been little to no meaningful accountability or resolution. Because of this lack of action, the behavior has now not stopped. It has continued and expanded into another city. This raises serious concerns about whether proper procedures were followed, whether reports were fully investigated, and whether patterns of behavior were recognized and addressed. In addition to law enforcement, I am also requesting an investigation into this matter has been handled within the Contra Costa County Superior Court. There have been serious incidents, including threats made against me and my children and an elderly couple. These incidents were documented and are on video. In addition, there was a racial offensive incident where items of banana peels were thrown in my driveway, and me and my kids were called monkeys by the Sedanos, and I have video of it. And they admitted it in court, and Tom White, her husband, admitted it in the Uber that they did it. So the incident has been documented and presented and acknowledged in court proceedings. Despite this level of evidence, I was not granted civil harassment protection in the courts of in Pittsburgh. Sorry. Let's see. So including potential racial targeting and at risk. So I'm asking why were repeated complaints not addressed in a way that prevented ongoing harm? Were proper investigation procedures followed each time reports were made? Why were clear patterns of over many years not acted upon? And why was protection not granted despite documented threats and racially concerning conduct? When individuals repeat harassment threats and behavior, they may include racial targeting and nothing changes. It sends a message that there are safety and concerns are not being taken seriously. That erodes trust in both the law enforcement and the courts. This is not just about one situation. This is about whether the system is functioning the way it should to protect the public equally and fairly. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment?
We do. We have Crystal Law. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So this is like really kind of, hello to the commission, by the way. This is really for the Mr. Solis, Commissioner Solis. You have been on Antioch City Council. You've been in Antioch for a long time. And the comments that were made when you were inducted or when the mayor gave you this position was basically blaming the last mayor and the last council. However, what I'd like to inform you that there's been racism and systemic racism and clear blank racism from the police department since 2004, since I've lived here. And so let me remind you that you've been here longer than I have. So you should have done your research before you even got on the commission. This is not me coming at you rude or mean. I don't know you. I don't know you personally. However, I would love if you put out a statement as to why did you choose the commission. If all you're gonna do is blame the previous administration and all you're gonna do is put the blame on them, I wanna know what your purpose is on this commission. What are you gonna actually do for District 1 if you're part of District 1? I'm not sure which one is a District 1 commissioner, but what are you gonna actually do in speaking up for the people who are being, come up against? A lot of you said something in when you were talking, and you said, I'm not sure why they just didn't come up before. And you don't look white, you look like you brown. So to me, that would show that you've had to have endured some type of racism at some point, whether from I know that I've gone through it multiple times where they would pull over my husband, but not pull over me in the same exact drug dealer car. So I just want to know what is it that you're going to do to set yourself apart to be in this commission? Because to me, the comments that you made at the city council, it doesn't go hand in hand. I don't see what type of difference you're gonna make, and what are you really gonna be able to do for the citizens of Antioch who have endured this racism for all these years, who couldn't speak up, who couldn't come up here and say something, who didn't have a voice, who couldn't say anything because they were so pushed aside.
Thank you. Is there any more public comment?
No further public comments. Thank you.
Thank you for everyone who spoke out this evening. And I don't know, I know we can't address, in case you guys are wondering, we can't address you publicly because of the Brown Act, but I'm sure you can reach out to us personally through email or, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Item number 6. Ad hoc committee report out. Mr. City Attorney, I did have a question that I wanted to ask for you that was made in a public comment earlier this evening about a legal question. as far as what the commission can do and when I would have the moment to speak about it, if it addresses a public comment that was made,
So,
just for my own reference.
there can be some, like, there can be an acknowledgement of a public comment that was made, but a response, let's just say if it triggers a particular discussion or something like that, then perhaps an appropriate thing to say would be, based off public comments that were made tonight, I would like to have this as a discussion item in the next meeting or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
So then the public can be noticed that this is going to be a discussion that's going to be had.
Okay.
And then, so the big part about the Brown Act is just to make sure that there is transparency
Mhm.
and that there is a type of meaningful interaction. Part of that is having a structure to it.
Okay.
And, it's also another thing, it's sometimes comments that are made, they can be made from a place of a lot of passion, that can incite a lot of passion from the commission, and that can just lead to a back and forth that kind of goes beyond the
Mhm.
pale.
Yeah.
And that's one of the other concerns as well.
Okay, I'll see if I can fit it into the upcoming agenda items portion. I really would like to know. I don't want to address it because it might spark discussion, and we should move forward. Yeah?
I think that's fun.
Okay. So, ad hoc committee report out. I guess we can go for, well, Mr. Solis, you haven't been here yet for that. So I'll go to Commissioner Ben-Ani first, if you would like to report out.
So this is for the committee report out. Well, the policing practices committee, we did meet, not last Thursday, but the Thursday prior, and we had some conversations of where we'd like to begin, and we set up some meetings, or one meeting. We're trying to set up another meeting for our committee to get more information from the community about, I guess, where they would like to see us focus, the scope. And we hope to bring some information back to the commission so we can make an informed decision as a unit.
Thank you. I'm also in that at ad hoc, and I was remiss. If I didn't mention, I didn't send in our notes. That would be reflective for the rest of the commissioners, and I'll get that into our next report out for everybody to review. And by then we'll have met again, so I'll add more to that. This week we are meeting with the Family Justice Center to have a robust discussion around community policies and all of that. Thank you again for making that connection, Commissioner Ben-Ani. Is that all you have for your report out?
That's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Peterson.
Not much to report out. Portia and I are potentially going to meet tomorrow to discuss budget. It's going to be our first meeting in the budget ad hoc to discuss the budget, and I'm looking forward to that. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Commissioner Lacey Ohat. You're only on one ad hoc, right?
Yes, I don't have anything to report out.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Kennedy, anything from training?
We did, the training ad hoc did not have a chance to meet, but we will be working on that between now and the next meeting. And then with community engagement, we're still working on the listening document, and also I have some additional information to update both of you all on, and we can get a meeting in too.
Thank you. And I'll just also add to our, since I also sit on that ad hoc committee for the community engagement, I actually wanted to talk about it also in the upcoming agenda items where we can bring it to the listening session that was proposed and edited to the commission to see where we can all kind of align on it. And I just also want to say to my fellow commissioners on that ad hoc that I appreciate the edits, and the thought that went into strengthening them overall the overall approach. I also understand the concerns raised around comfort levels in the Sycamore area, and that's real, and I respect it. At the same time, I want to be clear about why my original plan intentionally centered that community, and the residents in that area were among the most directly impacted by the, this past text message scandal and the broader breakdown in trust. If we're not here to heal, as we mentioned before, but I think that if we can foster in other community organizations that do work on that aspect, we can lighten the load for ourselves and hand it off to them in collaboration, because we're not skilled in that area. And we can't unintentionally move past the very people who experience the most harm. Moving forward is important, but it has to include acknowledgement, space to be heard, and willingness to meet people where they are. Discomfort shouldn't be the reason we avoid engagement. It should be the reason we approach it more thoughtfully. But I'm willing to take an active role there. If not all commissioners feel comfortable being present, I'm open to facilitating or co-facilitating like a listening session with another commissioner on here that may feel more comfortable. And I think it allows us to move forward in a way that is responsible and responsive to the particular community there. And I also want to be very clear that I support the direction of the Council and T's engagement, and would be glad to participate in and uplift that effort as well, because I do have a huge passion to work with youth and get them involved in civic leadership. I see this as complementary and competing, and not a competing approach. I think we can do multiple things at once. And ultimately, I think our role is to make sure no community feels looked over in the process, especially for those who already feel unheard. And I didn't say that because I feel like you guys want to just say, oh, we don't want to do that now or ever, right? I just wanted to get more clarity on, for the commission as a whole, as to why we will have, I guess, multiple events that for this listening session portion when we bring it up. And I know it's gonna be an ongoing thing, but I just want to make sure that folks know, like, my original proposal, I chose that area because that is where the most impacted was. So that's my report out. That wasn't more than 3 minutes, which I think it was.
Well, and I do think, just from a community engagement standpoint, one of the things that I'm hearing from multiple places, right? Policy was talking about community engagement. We've got a community engagement ad hoc. We had a document tonight about a community resource guide. And I think that we would be benefiting the entire commission and the public if we became clearer about who's going to manage and who's going to handle the community engagement activities. And I think ultimately some of these are going to come back to the commission as a whole. But I also think that some of that comes back to discussions that we have had about setting our goals and our priorities. And without those goals and priorities, we're going to have a rudderless path and potentially overlapping efforts that are not productive.
Thank you, Commissioner Kennedy. Commissioner Lucio.
Yes, I just wanted to add that I believe right now, from what I can see, we're all over the place. And we really need to focus on one thing in terms of the community engagement. Looking at the draft of the community resource guide, one thing I'm going to say, and I don't want anyone on the commission to be offended, there's more than this that's listed in our community. So I would not go along with this, because we need to include other resources. There are many more that I believe should be included.
It is a growing list. That's just where we started.
Right, but also we need to also remember that we talked about another way on how we were going to do this community engagement. So I'm trying to figure out how did we go from discussing something a few months ago, how did we all of a sudden come to this here, knocking on doors, presenting community resource guides? I'm not saying we should not go forward with this, but I believe that we just need to focus on what we had already discussed ahead of time. A few months ago.
See the city attorney has.
So I believe this was Chair Taylor's item. I think that she would have been able to explain what her intentions were. And then when it came to, let's just say, whatever actions were going to be taken by the commission, whatever resources were to be listed, that would be part of the discussion, potentially ending up in a vote to see what was actually going to end there. But because the item was continued, this may be a discussion better held until this is back on the calendar, which will hopefully be at the next meeting.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, and thank you, Commissioner Lacy Oha. We'll get it settled. Yeah. Okay, is that all for ad hoc report outs? I believe so. Let's move on to upcoming agenda items. I'll start by saying we need to assign Mr. Solis to Commissioner Solis, get used to saying that, to a ad hoc. And I know that there are 2 existing ad hocs that are available. 1, which I think is budget. So I think we'll have to put you on budget, sir. But we have to have that up for a vote next meeting once it's agendized. So I'll start there and I'll go down this way this time. Commissioner Kennedy, is there any upcoming agenda items that you would like to see before we get through all
I don't have a specific item, but one of the things that I think we would benefit from in the future is that rather than just seeing what commissioners would like to see on the agenda, I think that input from Chief Vigil and APD, if there are timely topics or issues that they feel we need to be aware of, I think that our planning, I think that we would benefit greatly from that input.
And we can probably discuss those in our ad hocs, and then,
My request is that when we discuss upcoming future agenda items, rather than those items simply coming just from commissioners, if the chief has items that he thinks are important and need to be placed on an agenda in a timely fashion, those we need to be made aware of those also.
Okay. And so what would the proper way of going through that is I don't think the chief can tell us what to put on the agenda, can make a suggestion.
No, but I think it would be something maybe just as simple as
having
saying,
a conversation.
Chief, is there an item you would like to have on the next agenda?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Kennedy. I think that's very appropriate.
Yeah, and I think it could be just as easy as brainstorming and trying to come up with a schedule, especially if you all are talking about going to 1 meeting a month. Okay, based on the city ordinance, what are some of your short-term goals combined with what the ordinance says versus, okay, we have, let's see, we're April going into May, 7 months worth of meetings left. If we were to start scheduling stuff, especially training topics or presentations, what does that look like? Because I know there are some measurables, there are some information that we want to share with you all, but also at the same time not losing track of where we're at with that. And some of it is timely, and it would make sense to have it on the front end as opposed to the back end, so that we're not trying to piecemeal, okay, this is what we have, what do you think? And waiting for the agenda to come out. I just think it might help with the continuity, it might help us hit some of our benchmarks, and it might make some of the meetings flow a little bit smoother.
Thank you. And seeing that it is our, duty, Chair Taylor and myself, to go over agenda items and get them on the agenda, well, mostly hers, we'll be reaching out. Thank you. Any other upcoming agenda items?
Yes, I would like to receive a update on the substation in the Sycamore corridor. What is the, how's that coming along? Because I did pass by there, Chief. I did pass by there, and it looked like I didn't see anyone there. So I'm just curious to know what is going on with that in terms of the staffing.
Okay.
And then also, I would like to see if we could find out how soon we are going to get that presentation on Assembly Bill AB 847. I think we had discussed at our last meeting that I guess our staff would be coming forward with something, because did we decide to go in that direction, that the staff would come back with something after some research and review?
Well, I believe, at least it was my understanding that, what was this?
Michael Lucen.
There we go. Mr. Lucen was going to present what he was going to present, and then I was going to present the city's perspective on it.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was because we had that,
right,
technical issue, we were going to wait to get that presentation, and then we'll hear from our staff, city staff.
So we're still going to go in that direction with getting the presentation from the gentleman from Sacramento or wherever, LA, wherever he was from.
Sacramento.
We're going to go in that direction?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe that was the discussion. If I need to give him money out of my own pocket to get here, I'll do that too.
Well, can I make a recommendation that if we plan on to use Zoom as a platform?
Yeah, we should do it beforehand.
Right. Yeah, can there be a testing period, at least 30 minutes prior to, what's his name, Mr. Lucen? Lucen, prior to him getting on to do the presentation? Because I felt that should have happened.
I agree.
Prior to our last meeting.
Well,
And-
there are a lot of things there. Like, is he available 30 minutes beforehand? If he's not available 30 minutes beforehand, then we can't test.
Right.
So it's like there are a lot of I know
moving
it seems
pieces,
like a very simple ask, but we're dealing with huge machines here, and at this point, we don't even have anything set. We don't know when and if he's going to be available. So we can't promise anything as to what testing or anything would happen until we kind of know that, hey, he's going to be available on this day at this time. Then maybe we can work with something.
Right.
The other thing to just simply be aware of is the assembly is in session Monday afternoons and Thursdays at 9. They go into session at 1 o'clock on Monday afternoon, depending on the agenda cycle and what they have going on. They could be in session until 4 or 5 o'clock. So, and depending on if he's a chief of staff, Mondays may be tough for him for a while.
I'm almost thinking what
Yeah, next month is appropriations hearings, and so I doubt that he'd be even available. It's going to be very intense for a lot of staffers next month.
I'm wondering now if we may even need to have a pre-recorded presentation and maybe submit questions afterwards, and that way the city staff can, adhere to our questions.
I would see no issue if there were to be some. I don't know about the technical side of it.
Yeah.
I'd have to talk with the clerk's office and with IT about it. From the legal side of it, I wouldn't see an issue if there being a presentation that would be shown to the commission in an open hearing, and then let's just say any questions that based off the presentation you would have for me, I could answer those at that time.
Right.
That's a way that I can think about doing about it. But this is also something, when setting the next agenda, there could be discussion with Chair Taylor about how exactly this would look.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Kennedy, you had something else? Oh, I thought your mic was on. I'm sorry. Anyone else? Upcoming agenda items? Okay, let's move on to, Commissioner Solis, did you have any questions about how we do our upcoming agenda items and how we
No, it was pretty clear.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
I didn't, and I don't have anything to
Well, yeah.
add at this point. Thank you, though, for asking.
My pleasure, thank you. Okay, number 8. Antioch Police Oversight Commissioner, report out. 3 minutes. Commissioner Solis.
I just wanted to thank everyone for their welcoming and hospitality and the good discussion. And I'm looking forward to serving our commission, our community, and just getting some things done. I mean, what does that mean? It means a lot of things. So watch out. Here I am.
All right.
Thank you.
Welcome. Commissioner Benoni.
Yeah, so I have been looking into a current situation and looking at certain policies which I plan on bringing to the policing practices meeting this Thursday. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you.
I have not much to report out. I just wanted to say congratulations to Commissioner Solis for being appointed on APOC. I look forward to working with you more and learning more about your background and why you decided to join APOC. I just wanted to say also to the rest of the commissioners, it's been a real pleasure working with you all. I look forward to continuing working with you all, especially as we continue the conversation around our goals and what we plan on doing. I think as a newer commissioner, what could be helpful, maybe in the next meeting or a future meeting that comes up soon, is to have, I would like to hear, from the older commissioners what they think we should be doing moving forward. Just because, I know you guys attended NACOL, I know you guys did some cool things like that. And I understand there were public meetings on that, but I'd like to hear more from you guys about what your thoughts on that was, what your experience was, and how do you think that will shape the way we do our work in the future. Because I have some ideas, but I just, I'm just thinking through what I think should be the future, but versus what I think, the DOJ or the APOC or the council has in mind for us. And I'd just like to just say, I'd like to continue that conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would love to have a conversation with you about NACOL. And I know Portia and Commissioners Kennedy and Oha, who I had a pleasure fellowshipping with out there. Would love to. So have any questions, shoot them our way. Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner Peterson. Commissioner Lacey Oha.
Well, thank you, Vice Chair. I would just like to say congratulations to Commissioner Solis. I got a little bit more information about your background, and because it wasn't clear, at first, but I understand that you served many years before I moved to the city of Antioch. So I am sure that you're familiar with the history of the city of Antioch, and I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing what you have to offer. And I believe you have a lot to offer this commission. What I did after our meeting that we had, I attended the second annual Ready Kids East County Resource Fair on Saturday, April 11th in the city of Pittsburgh. And I got a chance to meet the director of First Five, Miss Brandy. And she has my information. And also she is more than happy to, for our engagement ad hoc committee to get more involved. And what I can share with you, commissioners, is that there is a event on tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 11:30, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at 3501 Lone Tree Way. I believe this is their monthly networking mixer. Also, I did speak with our city manager, and she is going to get a swag package ready for us. It's going to be available for us, and we will be able to table at these events. I don't know if that swag package is available or not for us to set up for tomorrow, but hopefully next month, maybe myself or whoever want to join me can be a part of the First Five event, well, Family Justice Center event. It's hosted by the Family Justice Center, and they do this once a month, I believe. I think it's held on a monthly basis. Also, I would like to announce that on April 28th at 6 p.m., there will be a presentation on Zoom on the topic of human trafficking. And if you're interested in being a part of that presentation, let me know, and I can forward the flyer over to you.
What time?
Time is 6 p.m., April 28th at 6 p.m. on Zoom. And I have the meeting ID number, and I have the passcode. And it is being hosted by PAC.
Is that PAC?
Yes, PAACT.
Pat, okay.
Yes. Also, I would like to announce that on Saturday, May 16th, the NAACP will be having a Freedom Fun Gala. And it will be 1970s style. So if you have 1970s clothing, if you are interested in attending, please see myself or Commissioner Williams. I am the second vice president, and Commissioner Williams is the third vice president. And I know I have tickets. I have plenty of tickets. So you can see me if you're interested. And it's going to be held once again on Saturday, May 16th. Start time is 5 p.m. and it will be held at the Antioch Community Center on Longtree. And that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you, Commissioner Lacey Oha. Commissioner Kennedy.
I was lucky enough to spend some time with Officer Amiri at the Deer Valley High School Job Fair. We probably had 40 or so students that stopped by to talk about possible career in law enforcement or potentially as dispatchers. I have also been in contact with Sandra Jenkins at the Family Justice Center. And so that's, I think, a good resource for all of us. Also, just a reminder that there is an event this Thursday at Antioch High School called Roots and Rights, which is the citywide resource fair, connecting individuals with essential resources, services, and opportunities to help the community grow stronger. And
that's from 5 to 7, right?
That is from 5 to 7 at Antioch High School, yes. And that's all I've got.
Thank you. Everything I could have mentioned tonight has already been, no, I'm kidding. Also, I would like to welcome Commissioner Solis. Thank you for signing up, volunteering your time for this, this commission. And I would also like to learn more about your time in Antioch and the direction you would like to go with our commission and how we can foster collaboration on multiple things. Once our goals are all set, thank you, Commissioner Peterson, for reminding us that as a huge piece to this. And as we are getting there, we start to steer our ship more and more forward, not hitting any more icebergs. So I just want to say, thank you all for being here tonight. This was a very comprehensive and cohesive, robustly filled, information-filled meeting, and I'm going to get us out of here before our 9:30 cutoff time before we have to extend. I really appreciate you all. Thank you to the community that came out tonight and spoke. Thank you for the presentation from oh my goodness. What? Axon, and thank you all. It's been a long day. My birthday's tomorrow, so I'll be celebrating 21 years of love and there's my commissioner report out. Shout out to Chair Taylor. I know she couldn't be here because her children are under the weather and she's being a mom, so heart goes out to them. Thank you. Do I have any staff communications?
No.
Do I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, our next meeting date, I'm sorry, is May 4th at 6:30 p.m. May 4th at 6:30 p.m. Y'all can tell I'm excited for my birthday, right? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I have a motion from,
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Solis, seconded by Commissioner Addison. Clerk, may I have a vote?
Commissioner Solis?
Aye.
Commissioner Benani?
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson?
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Lacioja?
Aye.
Vice Chair Williams?
Yes.
Chair Taylor is absent. Meeting adjourned at 9:28. Thank you.
Thank you.